Welcome to In the Spotlight with your host, Rian Baraki.
Hi, and welcome to In the Spotlight. I'm your host, Rian Baraki, and today I'm here with Shazor Nawaz. Shazor is a senior here at Benedictine University. He'll also be attending medical school in the fall, and he's also president of South Asian Student Association here at Benedictine University. Shazor, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. So let's just hop right into it. So Shazor, you are an Indian American, right? Your dad was born and raised in India, and your mom was has Indian descent, but she's raised in the U.S., correct? Okay, so you're born and raised here. So tell me about your experience being an Indian American. Was your household more traditional? Were there like cultural challenges that you had to face growing up? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was always a mixture between kind of the Indian side and the American side. For instance, one day we might be all watching movies, listening to American movies, listening to American songs. Another night we might be cooking samosas, Indian snack, as well as watching Bollywood movies. So it was always a mixture. And there were definitely challenges growing up, going to a school that was mainly Caucasian, trying to fit in with that sort of culture while I had that Indian background. However, I had to kind of navigate through that and learn what it means to be an American, but also have that ethnic roots.
So how did you kind of balance the two?
Yeah, I would say kind of knowing what I can talk about with who. So going up to some of my non-Indian friends and talking about more Americanized things, so like movies like Spider-Man, for instance, versus going to some of my Indian friends, being able to talk about Indian movies that had come out, which was nice. However, as I kind of grew up, I was able to share some of my Indian culture with people who weren't Indian, which was a benefit for me.
So you are president of South Asian Student Association here at Benedictine University. What brought you to that? Did you feel like your at-home life kind of brought you closer to wanting to take leadership roles, or how did you become passionate about taking a leadership role?
Yeah, before I actually came here, I went to high school in Michigan, and so it was kind of away from my heritage, my culture. And so when I came back, I saw what was originally South Asian Student Association was Indian Student Association. And so I kind of latched onto that because I wanted to be a part of my culture again. And I wanted to experience all the things I had missed out while I was away. And so I tried to go to every single meeting, tried to really interact with the group members in there. And that kind of just led me to the path of taking on that leadership role.
Do you feel like taking on this leadership role brought you closer to your culture? Because I know that this year you guys had a lot of events like India Night and a lot of events really portraying like the rich Indian culture. So do you feel like it brought you closer and like kind of brought a lot of the Indian students together and like unified you guys?
Yeah, I definitely think that. The thing with India and now South Asia, because we're a South Asian Student Association, is that there's so much culture within South Asia. You know, within India, there are multiple states with completely different cultures, as well as Pakistan, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka. And so I was able to interact with different people from different backgrounds, which was really nice.
Yeah, well, that's really good. Thank you so much. When we come back, we will discuss about how Shazor came into going into medical school. I'm your host, Rian Baraki. Thank you.
Welcome to Players Indoor Sports, where learning and playing are one and the same. Players holds a number of youth leagues for all types of sports. In association with the Naperville Park District, we ensure that your child has both a great experience playing what could be their favorite sport and a boatload of fun. While the kids are at play, parents can relax in the Wildman Cafe, where they can socialize, grab a quick bite to eat, or enjoy an alcoholic beverage. So come on down to Players, located on Quincy Avenue in Naperville, to learn more about what we have to offer.
Welcome to Ben News for the month of October. I'm Vios Karagiannis.
And I'm Zakira Majid. Here are this month's top stories. This year, Benedictine University's incoming freshmen were required to read The Broken Ladder by Keith Payne. On Thursday, September 26th, Payne, a professor of psychology at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, visited Benedictine while leading a discussion about inequality. Eye of the Eagle's Leslie Turan had the honor of speaking with Payne after the discussion about where he grew his inspiration in writing this book.
So I have a few questions for you.
Great.
My first one is, what drew your interest to studying psychology of inequality?
Well, at first, I got interested in the topic of inequality in general, and I realized that there was a lot of research being done in other fields like sociology and economics, but psychology didn't seem to have a lot to say about it yet, although we had tons of research on things like social comparison and status and hierarchy. So I thought we should have something to say about income inequality. And so that's one of the motivations behind writing this book.
My next question is, how does Adam Smith's theory of invisible hand fit into the scale of economic inequality?
Interesting. I haven't thought much about Adam Smith in relationship to this, but, you know, his idea of the invisible hand really was about how complex markets produce big effects that you might not anticipate if you were just thinking about each individual actor, right? And so we see that also happening in terms of inequality, because each individual actor might be making decisions like, you know, I would rather have low taxes because I don't want to pay taxes.
Right.
But the overall effects that that has in the system when a lot of people do that is to make everyone worse off.
Right.
So in some ways, the effects of inequality in the economic system is sort of like the opposite of Adam Smith's invisible hand, because the net effect is to make everybody worse off than everybody better off.
Okay. And then my last question, what is some advice you could give students here at Benedictine to try making the community more like equal, and with, you know, enrollment and how people have to, you know, use financial aid? Some people don't get much financial aid and so on.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the details of how things work here, but, you know, so much of this is at the level of policymakers. So your question is, what can students do? I think for students, the biggest role or the biggest responsibility is about making other people feel like a part of a community, making people feel like they belong. And so the economic part is just one small part of that. And there are lots of ways that students can make new students feel like a part of that community.
Okay. Thank you. This is Leslie with Benedictine News.
In the fall of 2018, Benedictine Avians, the food provider on campus, decided to make a change to Cross's dining hall. Construction began at the end of the spring semester, and the current students were introduced to the new Benny's dining hall on the first day of school. Most of the students and faculty on campus were familiar with the old layout, so seeing this giant change was shocking. Ben News reporter Hannah Wagner spoke with Anna Silva about the overall quality of Cross's dining hall.
What year are you in school?
I'm a senior.
And then have you been to the old Kraza before all the renovations?
Yeah, this is definitely a step up from past couple years.
What do you think the biggest change is so far?
I don't know. I guess just the atmosphere is different than it was when I first started coming here. It's like Kraza now belongs in a mall food court, so that's different. I don't know.
That's actually funny. Like, I've never heard someone reference it to a mall before. But I mean, now that you say that, like, it does make sense. Yeah. It's very wide, or like, it's an open floor plan, so you can actually see everything.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much better do you think, or how good do you think the new Kraza looks?
Probably like a 10. Yeah.
Do you think the food's the same?
Yes. It's definitely the same. It's just outside that looks different.
Okay. And then last question. So they did all these renovations over the summer, and do you think that this was a new way to draw in new students, or was it to accommodate the current students that go here, or both?
I think both, because it's just to give current students like a better experience here, and obviously to draw attention to students that are looking into Benedictine. So both.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me talk to you, and I will let you go and enjoy your food here at Benny's.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Additionally, Hannah spoke with Sierra Duffy about her thoughts on the new dining hall.
So here we are with Sierra Duffy. Say hi, Sierra.
Hello.
So Sierra, what year are you in school?
I'm a senior.
And then have you been to the old Kraza before it was renovated?
Yes, a few times.
What did you think of it?
I don't think it was bad, but the renovation definitely helped with just the layout and everything.
Do you feel like it's a bigger space or like more open?
For sure, they definitely expanded where the tables can go, and the ceilings are just higher, which makes it feel more open, and the food is much more spread out, so it's less cramped.
And then what do you think of just the food overall? Is it about the same? Does it taste different, better, worse? What do you think?
I don't think it tastes very different, but it's definitely still good. Still like it here, so.
And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the new Kraza?
10.
That's great. Thank you, Sierra.
Of course.
Washington Black is a novel about a boy who rises from the ashes of slavery and gains his freedom in the world. Dr. Vincent Gaddis held a book talk on September 25th to discuss exceptional imagery and descriptions this book used to give readers a feeling of what the main characters went through in the story. The discussion opened up many different point of views based on their knowledge after reading the book. Eye of the Eagles, Amber Saeed, talked to Dr. Gaddis about his impressions of the book.
So one of the questions that I had, I know you talked about it during the discussion, was if you would want your students to also read this book, which from what I heard about the book, I would definitely want, if I had like a classroom, I would make them read it. But what do you think? Like, do you think today's generation would actually kind of enjoy the book for what it is, or would they be a little bit too judgy on the subject?
Yeah, great question. I think that most students would find this to be an excellent novel to read for an African American history course. The course I teach in African American history picks up a little bit later in terms of chronology, so it wouldn't fit. But for African American literature, African American studies, even a history of science course, if we were to offer something like that, I think this would work, because there's a lot of 19th century scientific ideas and discovery in the text. So I think the book would work very well on a couple of fronts: American literature, African American literature, history of science. It could work.
And then, so I know, like, back in like when I was in middle school and elementary school, we would read a lot of like novels like this. But I feel like nowadays they're not really teaching us much about it. Do you feel the same way, or like what do you think?
You mean teaching through novels?
Not just through novels, but about like what the slaves went through and like kind of like their voice.
Yeah, yes, that's another great question, because what typically happens in high school, let's start there, is that all of slavery comes down to like 2 paragraphs in the history book, right? So we don't see a lot of agency on the part of slaves when we learn about slavery in middle school, right? Then when we get to university and we hear about slavery, we do understand and hear about agency and how slaves resisted and how slaves fought against the system of slavery, and how the dynamics of that were different in different locations. Yes. And yet, there is still a constraint of how many courses one can offer in in a sequence and so on. We learn about slavery. Dr. Rushing has courses that touch on the issue of slavery, colonial Latin America, for example, or the African diaspora in Latin America. Certainly I touch on it on African American history. It's a large segment in the U.S. History Survey course. It's a large segment in the U.S. Civil War course. But what we do not have yet is an entire 16-week course just on slavery. So in that sense, we've limited. But if you take any of the courses I've just mentioned, you're going to get so much more on the topic than you would in just your typical high school class.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you so much for talking to me
Oh,
today.
thank you. You did a wonderful job. Thank you.
The Jurikasuki Museum and the Hardin Lab at Benedictine University hosted their second Life in the Pond Science of Turtles event on September 14th. The event was a family-friendly workshop that educated guests on the anatomy of turtles and their presence in Lake St. Benedict. The turtles at the event were primarily from the Benedictine campus, where they are trapped, analyzed, and then released into the lake. Attendees participated in demonstrations from Brookfield Zoo and the DuPage Forest Preserve. Educational games and live demos from Benedictine professor Dr. Hardin and her research students were also featured. Towards the end of the event, children who attended were allowed to help release turtles back into the campus lake. Eye of the Eagle's Maddie Ocean spoke with Rebecca Weber, senior Hardin Lab research student, about the turtle life on campus.
Hello, I'm Maddie Ocean with BenU News, and I'm here with Rebecca Weber reporting about the turtle event. Rebecca, what has your involvement been with the turtles on campus?
So I'm a senior in the Hardin Lab with the biology department, and so we've been planning the event in collaboration with the museum and Brookfield Zoo and the Forest Preserve, DuPage County.
And what has been your favorite aspect of working with turtles? What do you enjoy?
So I really like the fieldwork aspect of the project, and so getting an appreciation for our on-campus lake and all the wildlife we have on campus, and then also helping the species that we have of turtles, because turtles are a taxa of life. They're experiencing declines through things like climate change and invasive species and habitat loss, and so being involved with that has been really rewarding.
What's unique about the turtles on campus? Why do we have snappers? What should be your involvement with that?
So we have a lot of common species on campus. So we have the common snapping turtle, painted turtles, and red-eared sliders. And so painted turtles and snapping turtles you'll find in most large bodies of water like our on-campus lake. And we also have sliders. And so with the red-eared sliders, there's a debate whether or not that's animals that are invasive or native, and so as we're looking at the population, we can kind of make assessments of that debate as well, which could be interesting.
And on average, how many turtles have you marked over the past year?
So 2 years ago, we marked a bit over 100 turtles, and then this past summer, we had a bit of a slower season, more about like 20 turtles. Yeah.
It's a lot of turtles. Yeah. And what's the overall result? What do you want out of the study that you have done with the turtles?
So on campus, we're working on getting a population estimate and then also looking at things like age classes and sex ratios of the turtles on campus. But this project is also stemmed into additional projects, like we have a girl looking at stress hormone levels in turtle blood and other tissues, and so we're looking at coming up with a procedure that other people could use in order to look at things like stress hormones in order to collaborate with other research and make that possible.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. This is Maddie Ocean again with BenU News.
Benedictine University's first campus fraternity hosted a cookout event on Thursday, September 12th. Tau Kappa Epsilon, an all-male fraternity, hosted this event to let others know that there is still time to join. Benedictine introduced Greek life to campus in fall of 2018, and since then, both the fraternity and sorority have grown. Ben News reporter Hannah Wagner spoke with Stephen Sawicki, the president of TEAK, about the fraternity and the enrollment process.
All right, Stephen, can you tell me what TKE stands for?
Yeah, so TKE, it's 3 letters, but it stands for Tau Kappa Epsilon. We're referred to as the TEAKs. We're the very first international fraternity that reached out to Canada and actually overseas and everything like that. And we're also the very first fraternity that was all-inclusive, because before, fraternities basically had a stigma about them where they were for only white males and for the rich. But Tau Kappa Epsilon really broke that barrier and kind of including everybody, such as Latino students and African American students. So it's cool to basically be in an organization that promotes inclusion and diversity among its members and everything, because it really makes our meetings and our brotherhood really strong. And I feel like if we weren't that diverse, it wouldn't be that strong as it should be.
If someone was interested in joining your fraternity today, what would they have to do?
So it's really easy to join Tau Kappa Epsilon fraternity here at Benedictine. All you'd have to do is just reach out to our Gmail account at benutke@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram account called EaglesTKE. So either one of those platforms you can reach out to, because it's really simple, and then we can sit down, give you the nice spiel about all of our information, what we're about, and further things on how you can join our brotherhood and everything like that. So it's really simple. Just reach out, or if you see a brother in letters or you run across me somewhere, I'm literally everywhere on campus. So it's not hard to find me or some of the other brothers. Just, give us a shout and be like, hey, I'm interested, and we'll for sure help you out to see if you'd be a great fit in our brotherhood, which I'm sure many students here will be a great fit in our brotherhood.
All right. Well, thank you.
Additionally, Hannah spoke with David Banda about his experience with the fraternity and why people should join.
Is there anything that you wish you knew coming into the fraternity?
Yeah, so one thing that I immediately thought of is time commitment. But with anything, that just takes time management skills and proper coordination. And with time management, anything could be possible.
Great answer. What is your favorite part about being a member of TKE?
Honestly, as a student that isn't an athlete, I get the atmosphere of being on a team like any other athletic team event. However, I feel a closer connection with these guys who I call a brother, because we invest in ourselves so heavily and in each other that at the end of the day, you just can't help but not have a good time.
I completely agree. And then last question, do you have any advice for a student thinking about rushing?
Yeah, of course. If you're curious, or if you just don't know anything, or even if you have a negative connotation of what a fraternity is, please go out of your comfort zone, approach us, talk to us, get to learn a little bit about us before you make a last-minute judgment, because at the end of the day, we might just change your mind.
All right, well, thank you. And I think that's it. All right.
In sports, the women's volleyball team defeated Benedictine University in 4 sets on Tuesday, September 24th. The Eagles are getting more and more confident with their gameplay as they increase their record to 10-3 and their win streak to 4 straight matches. Taylor Dunwell and Molly Stock led the team's offense with 20 and 16 kills, respectively. Eye of the Eagles' Maddie Smith spoke with Molly Stock, a junior right side hitter for the Eagles, about her contribution to the team's success and the team's goals for the rest of the season.
Hello, my name is Maddie Smith with Eye of the Eagle, and I'm here with Molly Stock, a junior right side hitter on the women's volleyball team, who tallied 16 kills tonight during the home opener against Dominican. So my first question for you is, you guys came into this game with a 9-3 record and a 3-match win streak. So what was your mindset going into this game? Was it more pressure for you having that win streak, or did it give you guys confidence?
I think it honestly gave us a lot of confidence, because we knew Dominican was not just going to roll over and let us win. So we knew going into it that we'd have to battle, and I think that's how we came out on top tonight.
Awesome. It shows that you're a leader both on the court and on the bench, so how do you balance being a leader and having fun during a game?
So I would say I have a lot of energy as a player on and off the court, and I think the rest of the team kind of feeds off my energy, and it really shows as soon as I go in. Everyone just gets super excited on and off the court, and I love being a leader of this team.
What has fed your own and your team's improvement as the season has gone on?
So honestly, I would say it's just our goals. We've had big goals from the beginning of the season to get all the way to the NAC tournament and obviously come out on top and then get to the NCAAs. And I think right now we're on the right track. We have an unbreakable bond on this team. This is the closest team I've ever been on. And I think if we just keep up our play right now, really big things are going to happen.
That's great. My final question. What are your expectations for the rest of the season?
Really, really, really big things.
We love to hear it. This is Maddie Smith with Eye of the Eagle.
The women's golf team is close to ending the season with an amazing score of 447, which leads the rest of the teams in the conference. The season is coming to an end on September 27th, which will be the last conference of the season, and will be held at the Meadowbrook Golf Club in Racine, Wisconsin. Eye of the Eagles' Alistair Husseini spoke with Michaela Holmes to discuss the direction in which the team is headed.
Good evening, Ben U. This is Alistair, and I'm here with Michaela Holmes to discuss the 2019 season regarding golf here at Ben U. Michaela, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
Excellent. So first question, how are we looking this season?
We're looking like we're ready to, play some golf. We got our UW Whitewater invite coming up this weekend, and then next weekend it's conference. That's going to be a long weekend for sure. It's a 3-day tournament, about 7.5 miles each day, so girls will be tired at the end.
Wow. Question following that, though, do you think that weight training or different types of cardiovascular endurance training would be applicable towards these conditions?
Yeah, actually both are very beneficial to improving one's game. Weight training, you're going to be able to get some distance, build a lot of lower body to help with the transfer of weight through your hips. You just got to be careful with your upper body. If you get too bulky, you'll inhibit your flexibility and your rotation. And then actually something interesting is with cardio, is if you get your heart rate pumping and then you go hit a shot, it's going to mimic you actually being nervous because your heart rate's elevated. So it's like a mind game of how to beat your nerves when you're on the course.
Oh, wow. And with that being said, who would you consider to be the best golfer of all time / your favorite golfer?
I gotta give it to Tiger. I watched him win the Masters last season. The other couple weeks ago, I was about 20 yards away from him, and I wanted to cry. He just really changed the game as a player. He was one of the first to bring it into the weight room and show people that it's not just playing on a course, is you can do better.
And last but not least, Happy Gilmore. What made him so great? Was there a certain secret, a certain pop to his swing? What's your take?
Yeah, honestly, it's because he just didn't care. Playing golf, one of the hardest things to do is to let it go. Is when you hit a bad shot, is you can't let that ruin your entire round. So the most important thing when you're playing golf is keep a level head and just, pretend like it didn't happen and, yeah.
Well, you heard it. This is Alistair with Ben U News, and have a great day. Thank you.
That's the news for October. I'm Vios Karagiannis.
And I'm Zakira Majed. Be sure to watch us in November.
Welcome to Cedar Grill of Downers Grove, Illinois, a family-owned and operated business that only uses the best ingredients to bring you the finest Mediterranean food. Try our delicious gyros or our savory chicken shawarma wrap with onion rings. Our cooks work hard to bring you the best Mediterranean food. While you're enjoying your meal, take a look at our beautiful pictures displayed in our lobby. For a convenient dining experience, come to Cedar Grill, located on Ogden and Belmont in Downers Grove.
Welcome back to In the Spotlight with Rian Baraki.
Hello and welcome back. I'm your host Rian Baraki, and I'm here again with Shazor Nawaz. So Shazor, tell me a little bit why you decided to go to medical school.
Yeah, I think originally growing up I was surrounded by physicians in my family or friends, and that made me want to go into medicine. However, it was kind of a turnoff actually during my high school career where people kept asking me, oh, when are you going to become a doctor? What kind of doctor do you want to be? So it was a little bit of a turnoff. But I found my passion again for medical school after shadowing in various areas. as well as taking some science classes that allowed me to find my passion again for medicine.
What were some of the challenges you felt like you faced during your undergrad experience? Did you ever feel like there was a time where you wanted to just not do it or like completely change your major?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of times. One of those semesters was, for instance, my freshman year, first semester actually, where I wasn't attuned to college life from high school, so I'd kind of study as if I was a high schooler. And after that semester I didn't do so well, so I kind of had to retrace my steps, see what I could do differently to make myself a better student.
So are you glad that you pushed through that and you're still pursuing this?
Definitely. I don't have a regret with my major at all. I'm really glad that I was able to work in the science field and work towards my major.
And what kind of doctor are you studying to be?
Yeah, as of right now, I'm not entirely sure. I really want to keep my horizons open with my specialty, but I do really like primary care because of that interaction with patients.
So I understand both of your parents are doctors, correct? So did they inspire you in some way to like want to pursue this career?
Yes, especially my mom. My mom actually went back to school, where she actually came to Benedictine University while I was in elementary school.
Oh, okay.
And then she went on to pursue her medical degree. So that was a motivator for me.
Very inspiring, yeah. So do you feel like after you finish medical school, would you ever like want to do work in a foreign country or like start some sort of like charity organization where you provide like healthcare for people who can't afford it or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. One of the program I'm going into in Florida, Nova Southeastern University, have a rotation where you get to go into countries such as India, and I think that's a great opportunity to get my foot through the door with working internationally. But I also want to look into Doctors Without Borders as well.
Yeah. And what medical school are you going to in the fall?
Yeah, it's Nova Southeastern College of Osteopathic Medicine.
And where is that?
That's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Oh, okay, okay. So is there a reason why you decided to go to school so far away?
Aside from the nice weather, I wanted to look at osteopathic schools. And out of the places I got into, this was the best option for me, as they're reputable and they have a really good program that does focus with primary care.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit more about primary care. So how would that be? Is there like any extensive studying after you finish medical school? Does it affect your residency at all?
Yeah, so for instance, family medicine, it would be 3 years of residency. And a lot of it does work with clinics as well as hospitals, so I get to experience a variety of opportunities.
Well, that's very inspiring. Thank you, Shazor. Once again, I'm Rian Baraki, your host at In the Spotlight.
Hi, this is Hannah with Eye of the Eagle. I'm here with Oscar. So, Oscar, if you were to win the lottery, what would you do with the money?
Okay, so I would win like $1 billion. And the first thing I would do is I would start like a charity for kids. Because, like, I love kids. Like, and then I'd probably have a lot of fun. So, education for kids, and then a lot of fun for me and for my family.
First I would donate, pay my loans, and then I would buy all the cats in the world, or as much as I can, and free them because they don't deserve to be in cages. And that's it.
All right, thank you so much. You're such a nice person. Probably buy an elephant.
An elephant, okay.
I would probably buy like doggy shelters and just like take care of a bunch of dogs because dogs are better than humans, and that's a proven fact.
Dogs are better than humans.
Buy a bunch of dogs and travel with my dogs.
Perfect.
A whole bunch of camels. I love camels.
I would donate some to charity, I would use some to buy some dogs, and I would go shopping.
All right, great answer. Thank you.
If you looked your name up in the dictionary, what would you find?
I think you would find a picture of a duck.
A duck?
Yeah.
All right.
Quirky.
A lot of not so great adjectives, and then maybe funny and kind sometimes.
Maybe funny.
And kind sometimes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Spazzy. I love that.
Perfection.
Of course.
To be honest, I think there would just be a picture of a gem. But like at the same time, I don't know.
Thank you.
My name's probably not in the dictionary, but if you search me up online, you'll probably find my Facebook that I never use or my Instagram. I don't really know.
All right, thank you so much.
And if you saw your name in the dictionary, what would it say?
Do you love me?
Perfect. We love it.
Genuine. I'm very serious. Genuine.
Thanks for tuning in. This is Alistair with I the Eagle. Thank you.
Which will be the last conference of the season. Yep, there you go. Okay, sorry, it was too slow.
Eye of the Eagle's Maddie Smith spoke with junior Molly, messed up.
Know that there is still time to join. Wow, it's still too fast. Holy cow. Holy cow. Washington Black is a novel about a boy who rises from, rises.
Anatomy of turtles and the presence in turtles, messed up.
Who rises from the ashes of, sorry, I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. Explaining. The last conference will be held at the Meadowbrook Golf Club. Too slow. Okay. Yay, am I free? Yeah, that was the last one.
Hello, this is Alistair with I the Eagle, and today I take a stroll down Goodwin Hallway to interview one of my favorite, I don't know, it's probably the script, with I the Eagle and Mia. If we were to look up, we just keep going, right? Or
That's all I got.
those are amazing qualities, and thank you so much. Bye. Good evening, Ben.
And if you were to look your name up in the dictionary, what would it say?
Oh, I didn't realize this.
Marianne, can we redo that? Sorry.
Hello, my name is Maddie Smith with Eye of the Eagle, and I'm here with Molly Stock, a junior right side hitter for the women's volleyball team.
Why did I wave? I was like...
So my first question for you.
Are you
What was the first question? What is fed both?
You're good, you're good.
And so fraternity basically screams brotherhood and, hold on, I screwed up, sorry.
That's okay. Don't stop. I don't think. They can probably cut it.
BenUteeks at gmail.com. Pretty simple, reach out. If you got it. I said God, I'm not supposed to say God.
It's okay.
TKE at gmail.com. Stop.
And we just like, wait, okay. Okay.